Looking at the results for the year ended 30 June 2013, and highlight for the period, I guess, is the increase in our distribution to shareholders at 7.2%, in line with what we guided the market at the half-year period, and certainly better than we guided at the beginning of the year, which was for growth of just over 6%. The business today comprises of three major areas. The South African property portfolio, comprised of 390 properties across the country, split into retail, office and industrial properties. We then have our 50% interest in the V&A Waterfront in partnership with the Government Employees Pension Fund, PIC on behalf of them. And then our Australian business, where we have 44 properties in a subsidiary which is separately listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, which has got about 1.7 billion Australian dollars worth of property spread right across Australia. The key contributors to this year's results is a solid performance from the South African portfolio. Net property income grew at about 5.7%, impacted, I guess, by more sales this year of property than acquisitions. One would have expected that number a bit higher, but offset by the reduced borrowing costs within the South African operation. Net that resulted in about an 11.1% increase in overall contribution to the result from our South African business. 75% of the total distributable income comes from the South African portfolio. Australia had another good year. We had almost 40% increase in contributions from the Australian subsidiary, driven by acquisitions and acquisition activity in Australia. Another pretty active year for the Australian business, acquiring additional industrial properties and completing two major office developments, one in Sydney and one in just outside Brisbane. Australian business overall contribution looking pretty healthy, and we look to continue to support the Australian business from South Africa. V&A Waterfront increased its contribution to the bottom line, or the total distributable income, by about 6.5% year on year, reflecting a very solid underlying performance in the main from the retail portfolio. Retail sales remain very strong in the waterfront, with year-on-year growth of over 16% in retail sales at the waterfront. If you roll that forward a little bit and look at second quarter 2013 on second quarter 2012, over 19% increase in total turnover and sales at the V&A Waterfront. So a very strong contribution from the retail component at the V&A Waterfront. All up, I think a very satisfying result. Unfortunately, due to the vagaries of the market, the share price since May has not performed that well. Growthpoint share price probably down between 20 and 25% since the peak in May, but nothing to do with the fundamentals of our business. It's all macro issues that have resulted in global bond rates moving up, and Growthpoint share price not being spared. With yields moving up, unfortunately our share price moves down.